From the real estate, interior design, and design and build experts at the Penzo Group comes a podcast that covers all things home. For our team, a home is so much more than the sum of its four walls. It goes beyond. A home is our sanctuary, a place to create memories, build routines, and shape our futures. Through a series of captivating conversations with guests who are industry experts in their fields, we discuss their lives, passions, and their most personal and intimate spaces, their homes. Welcome to Beyond Four Walls, where we explore the soul of living spaces and celebrate the essence of what makes a house a true home.
Hello, welcome back to Beyond Four Walls. I'm Gabrielle, and today I'm here with Anna Morrison. Anna and I actually know each other through our kids. They go to the same school in High Park, and through our chats, I discovered that Anna is the founder of AM Travel, a luxury travel business that curates experiences for friends and family to become closer. So welcome,
Thank
Anna.
you. Thank you so much for having me. I'm very excited to be here and chat about my favorite topic.
Yeah. So I'm genuinely curious to learn more because we've only chatted about it briefly. I know you mentioned in the past that this was not your original career and this is a fairly new business. So take me through that. Where did you start? How did we get here?
Sure. Yeah. No, that's a great question because I did not start I didn't start in travel in the traditional sense of the word. Before I had my kids, I worked in production. So I produced photo shoots for luxury brands with celebrities and influencers. And I was
Sorry, can we pause on that for a second? That's so cool.
Yeah.
What celebrities?
Who did I do?
I know we're here to talk about travel, but I'm curious.
Well, so I worked a lot with, I don't know if this is probably going to really date me, but I worked with the Coveteur, which was
I loved the Coveteur.
Yeah, it was so great. So I was friends with some of the founders of the Coveteur.
Okay.
And that's kind of how I got brought into that fold. And so they were doing photo shoots with like a lot of really big names in fashion. And I specifically kind of ran their branded content portion of their, no, I didn't run it, but I produced and put together
So
everything.
I remember there were photo shoots like with people's closets and stuff.
Yes.
You were involved with that?
Well, yeah. Well, so anything that was sponsored. If like, for example, Ralph Lauren would be, sponsoring a shoot, I would be the one kind of stick handling it and so then we would hire like another influencer and go into their house. The team would go to where they live and we would put the whole thing together for a brand. Yeah, exactly.
No, I was an avid reader of that. I remember it. Yeah. I imagine there was a lot of travel involved for that too.
There's a lot of travel and a lot of just organization and being on photo shoots is a lot of work. It's like a lot of, you got to wake up very early in the morning and sometimes the shoots don't end until they're over.
Yeah.
And you don't get any say in terms of, when that is necessarily. You can plan it, but it doesn't necessarily go to plan. And so it just wasn't right for me anymore, I would say.
Yeah.
So when I had my kids, I took a break from working for a little bit. And then when I had my third, I sort of realized it was maybe time to start thinking about what I was going to do next. And I've always loved planning and I love travel. And there are certain things that I was happy to leave behind with my old job, but travel was the thing that I didn't really want to leave behind. So that's sort of, where it all started.
So was there a particular, experience or trip that really prompted you to say, I want to start a travel business? Like, how did we go from want to get back into the workforce to this is what I want to do?
You know what? That's a great question. And I don't think that there was any one specific thing that I did, we have traveled with our kids quite a bit, and I have just really enjoyed it. And I think that it was more just kind of a slow realization that this was a really good idea for my next kind of, chapter in life, and that it blended all of the elements of what I liked about my old job. I've always been that person who, if my family or friends need help with travel planning, they're always sort of like,
Anna, can you just figure it out?
Yeah, can you figure it out? Or what hotel would be really good in this place? Or my parents will be like, can you just book that flight for me?
Yeah.
So we're it's just kind of always been the thing that I've always done, and I just love it. Once I kind of started realizing that, and I kind of realized that maybe it could actually be something that I could get paid for, then I was like, okay, you know what? Let's do it. And I just I really honestly didn't think too much about it after that. I just did it.
So when did you officially start?
About a year and a half ago.
Okay.
So
awesome.
It's been, I said this to you the other night when we were having dinner, but it's been a bit of a baptism by fire, because I was really not sure, how receptive people would be to it. And people are receptive. I think a lot more people are interested in having help in travel than I maybe realized.
Anticipated. Yeah. No, I can totally see that, because you, my parents are at that stage where they used to plan all this stuff, but now they're like, Gabrielle, can you just do it for us? Where are we going to have dinner in whatever city? What are we doing?
Yeah.
I'm just which I'm happy to do it, but it is a lot of work. And so I can totally see the need to hire someone professionally to do it.
Yeah, well.
Yeah.
But I think that I know that's just it. It's people are really busy. A lot of people are really busy. And I think also that travel is a special time, and that people actually use to kind of connect as a family. So if you can have somebody sort of take care of the logistics of it, and actually just you're able to enjoy it. I think that's kind of.
Well, the other thing too in booking and planning these things for my parents that I've discovered is just in the age of internet, it's information overload. There's so much out there, and obviously it's not all good, be it hotels, restaurants, activities, whatever it is. So, it is very helpful to have someone who's knowledgeable about this stuff and has maybe either been there themselves or sent somebody there.
Or has somebody who they can call in that place. When you work with a travel advisor, oftentimes they will have somebody who is in the destination that you are going to. You'll be able to, have their phone number. And so if something goes wrong, if you're in Greece and you miss your ferry or something like that, they're there to help you. You don't get that if you're, the one who is doing it all by yourself.
Yeah.
And I think that to your point, you're right. There's so much stuff online. You can go on TripAdvisor and spend hours. We have all. I also.
Yeah, you go down the rabbit hole.
You go down the rabbit hole, and you're like, why is this the number 3 ranked hotel? And wait, it's the number 3 ranked for value, but what does that mean? You know what I mean? And
how do you
figure out what it actually is that you're looking for? And also are the people who are writing those TripAdvisor reviews traveling how you travel?
Yeah.
How do you know that these reviews even matter for you?
So for people listening who are planning on traveling, thinking about traveling, what is the process with working with AM Travel? What's the first step? What services do you offer? You've mentioned to me, but I think your website also says it too. You obviously will plan a trip for anyone to go wherever, but you do specialize in family travel. You're also a mother of 3. Will is a little older than Jackson. Is how old?
Will's going to turn 5 in about 2 weeks.
Okay.
Yes.
And then your 2 girls are?
Georgia is my oldest. She's 6. And then Sid is 2.
Okay. Yeah. So you're in the thick of things.
Yeah.
You've traveled with them. You know what's up with family travel. You know the highs and lows of it.
Yes.
How do you factor that in when you're planning for families with young children specifically? What tips do you have? Like what's your inside take?
Okay, so my inside take, I'm very passionate about family travel because I love to do it. And I think that a huge part of what I want to do with this business is kind of make it so that people are a little bit less intimidated about traveling with their kids, because my opinion is that it is very doable. You can go anywhere. Like, you cannot, just don't be scared of an 8-hour plane ride. Don't be scared of it, because it will end.
Yeah.
And then when you get to wherever you are, you're going to have a nap and you're going to get to do the coolest stuff with your kids. My biggest tip is plan a trip that actually takes into account your kids' age and stage. Don't plan a trip that is for grown-ups that you're bringing your children on, because it's not really going to go well. Like, don't take a toddler to Paris in August and think that you're going to have a ton of fun standing in line at the Louvre and stuff like that. Like, it's
just be realistic.
Yeah, be realistic. And it's like, there is going to come a time when that trip you have in your mind is going to be the right one for that time. But, if you have young kids.
Like, what have you done personally with your kids?
We went to Provence with our kids. That was such a good trip because we rented a villa.
Yeah.
It had a pool. We were close to towns. We took little day trips into towns and, went for lunch, and the kids could pop into shops and see the castles, and they really liked it. And the food is really good. But at the end of the day, you don't have to do an activity every day with kids, because
the pool is enough.
The pool is enough. And, you probably don't want to every single day either, because logistically it's tough. But build in some breaks for them.
Yeah.
And they'll have a really fun time. And then when your kids are older, you'll go to Rome or Paris or whatever and do fun things for them. Here's a fun thing. If you go to Paris, you can get a private tour for kids, and it's a scavenger hunt of the Louvre.
Oh, that's cool.
So there are really cool things that you can do with kids in these cities that really engage them. Or in Rome, you can do a gladiator course or something like that for kids. It's kind of kitschy, but first of all, don't take yourself too seriously. It's fun. Yeah. And you get your trip to Europe and your kids aren't complaining. It's really good.
It's a win-win.
Yeah, it's a win-win. Exactly. So I think that just planning something that your kids will enjoy is the key.
So you obviously see a vast array of destinations, hotels, whatever. Is there, in your opinion, a destination that you think is going to be the next hottest thing, or is under the radar that people should consider?
What's interesting is in Italy, for example, the Dolomites are a very popular spot. And part of the reason why it's very ironic why they're so popular is because the Dolomites is a really controlled region. They've controlled the tourism in it extremely well. So the number of hotel rooms that are in the Dolomites right now, there will not be more. It is what it is. Okay. So in order for them to build a new hotel, one has to
jump through hoops.
Yes. Yeah, exactly. So so I think that places that are a little bit off the beaten path, since COVID, the over tourism in Europe is kind of tough. And so certain spots like
Venice in July and August.
Venice, the Amalfi Coast.
Yeah.
Those places are so busy that it's almost unenjoyable.
I remember Amalfi's busy, but Venice, I remember being stuck on those little bridges with a million people trying to take pictures. Yes. And I'm I will never come back here in the summer.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
It's a beautiful place, but it's hard to enjoy it when there's that many people.
Yeah. So I think that in terms of, I think finding destinations that are a little bit off the beaten path, harder to get to, a bit more authentic too. That's sort of what I'm interested in. So I really want to go to the Dolomites personally, because there's also some of the most beautiful, insane like hotels there right now that are opening. They're you can go and like hike and have saunas and do wonderful things. And it's just seems so dreamy.
That sounds lovely.
I know. So that is pretty good. I also think that like Canadians are turning away from States right now in terms of like traveling there. And I sort of hope that as a country, we can, I think that I would like to travel more in Canada a little bit. And I wish that we would pay a little bit, hype ourselves up a bit more because we've got some cool, great places. And I also wish we had more cool, great places.
Yeah.
And I'm like, if we don't, go to our own, beautiful spots, then I don't know.
Yeah, if Canadians aren't going
If
there,
Canadians aren't going, then who? I know that a lot of people do go to them.
Yeah.
But I think that we sort of are disparaging towards our own country sometimes in terms of like, it's not that cool or whatever. But it is. And like, I think that,
I feel like it could be marketed better because when you do talk about what Canada has with people who are from outside of Canada, they think it's amazing. Like they think just the leaves changing is really cool to some people. I remember I was talking to people from Turkey and they were just blown away by the colors of the fall, and like the Rocky Mountains were just mind blowing to them, which they are mind blowing.
They are,
but I
and
think
they're so beautiful.
We just kind of forget. But I have one girlfriend who her grandparents, they're like, one of them's from Newfoundland originally, and they made it a mission. We're going to take all the kids and grandkids, I don't know what it was, every other year, every 3 years, somewhere different in Canada. So they've, over the years, taken them on these crazy trips to like the Yukon and like places that most people never go. Yeah. And I remember thinking like, you're going where? But then I see their photos and hear about what they did, and they had such an amazing time and did really cool stuff that you can't do anywhere else. So
yeah, I know. I think it's like I think that we could stand to like, I wish we had more cool hotels, especially near Toronto. I feel like we could stand to get some more. So I'm just like, come on, Canada. Let's do this. Let's try and beef this industry up a bit here.
Yeah. So in a lot of the verbiage on your website, you talk about curated experiences. So what do you do to make them highly customized and personal? Or do you have an example that you can talk about?
So I think that I think the key is really, so when you work with me, we will have a call. You'll fill out a form on my website usually, or just email me or whatever. And then we'll have a call. And on that call, I generally speaking will go into like a ton of details about the way you like to travel and the types of trips you've been on and what you specifically are looking for this trip. The goal is to really figure out kind of what you value in travel. So some people, you talk about the budget and they literally like only thing that they care about is hotels.
Right.
And they love hotels and they want to spend all their money on a great hotel, which like me too. But other people, what they really care about is logistics and like just flawless execution. So, you arrive and you have a car waiting for you and you just never have to really think about like what's happening next. And, somebody's there, you're taking a train, like you have a porter to help you with your bags, like those little things. Or, you don't care about staying at a fancy hotel, but you really want a private tour of a super hectic museum or an awesome like boat day in Greece or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, so it's really just about kind of figuring out what's important to them. Because what I really want in a trip is not going to be what you want in a trip.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or what's going to make it a luxurious experience.
Yeah.
So it's just sort of figuring out what makes everybody tick, and then you can kind of like plan it out from there. I am working on something right now, which is it's for one of my like non-family clients. It's a baby boomer kind of couple.
Okay.
Who I work also with quite a bit, but they are doing this trip to Europe this spring. It's all about kind of the 80th anniversary of the liberation of Europe from, during the Second World War this year. And this client has like a father who was part of the Dutch resistance, and they're doing a really personal trip through France and Belgium and then the Netherlands. And I've been working with partners like in Europe we have like private tours of like the D-Day like landing site for the Canadians, like on Juno Beach, that they get to take with like a super knowledgeable guide. We have somebody in the Netherlands who's going to like retrace her family's, history and like what her father would have done in what he was doing. And, just putting together like really cool, you can, do these things and put together these really cool experiences when you do get to take a little bit of time and talk to people and figure out, what they really want. And then, luckily there are these people in Europe who are willing to help out and kind of put it all together with me. So, so that's kind of cool and fun.
That's very cool. So how you mentioned partners in these destinations, like how do you connect with these people?
So AM Travel is my business.
Yeah.
I am affiliated with a larger agency.
Okay.
Which like in the travel industry is called a host agency. It's actually very similar to the structure of like a real estate agent to a real estate agency.
Got it. Yeah.
So their, business is similarly kind of structured. So they negotiate all the contracts with like our preferred hotels.
Okay.
So they kind of manage the perks and the benefits that our clients get when they go to any major hotel. So that's sort of the other side of why using a travel advisor can be really beneficial, is because there's a whole side of the travel industry that is like inaccessible for for a lot of people. Without using somebody who's actually working in the industry, because they're all like B2B and B2B businesses.
Totally.
So, but the agency that I work for kind of curates the list, and I work with a kind of a luxury agency, and they vet them. And then I also have like a huge network of other advisors who I'm, able to be in contact with and ask if I don't know something, or if I don't know kind of where to turn, I can kind of figure it out through that also. There are a huge number of resources available to travel advisors to kind of make sure that their clients have a really seamless experience, like in the destination that they are in.
Yeah.
We might not know, or even, they're behind the scenes.
Yeah. I mean, it's no different than, with Homekin, for example, like people are able to access fabrics and furniture that are only to trade.
Exactly. And I think that it's like a very similar, I often compare, why somebody would use an interior or why somebody would use a travel advisor.
Yeah.
To why it's like very similar to why somebody would choose to use an interior designer. You're spending an amount of money, you're investing in something, and you're not truly an expert in what you're doing. So it's the exact same thing. You kind of use somebody who has access, who can like pull some levers that you like can't necessarily.
Yeah.
And who really kind of knows what to do to make your experience seamless. You can book anything online. It's not necessarily going to be as nuanced and as thoughtful and planned out as it would be if you were to use a professional, which is like very similar to when you're using an interior designer. You can buy a couch by yourself. You can buy pillows, but like, did you think about it?
But you could get even better ones.
You can get even better ones. Exactly. And it's like, layer in some texture and, all those things that it's just what brings the trip together like a
Yes.
or the house together.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
So it is, I think it's a good analogy. Like if you use other professionals in your life, it's a very similar kind of situation.
So normally we ask people about their favorite room in their house, but given the fact that we're talking about travel, I'm going to switch it up a bit. What is your favorite hotel or home away from home and why?
My favorite hotel that I have stayed at, and I have a large list of hotels that I want to stay at, but this is my favorite one that I have stayed at so far in my life, is that there is a Rosewood Hotel in Tuscany called Castiglione del Bosco. And it is just like, for me, it is perfect. I think it is it's beautiful. It's just everything about it is perfect. It is like the rooms are gorgeous. It's on the side of this beautiful mountain and you have this gorgeous view, and it's just it was like an old village that they've turned into a hotel, and you can do everything there. It's actually, I did not go when I have kids, but it is a really good place to go if you do have kids.
Okay.
They have like truffle hunting and all of these cool activities.
Truffle hunting.
Yeah, which you can do with your children.
And do the kids get like to do it with a pig or a Labrador?
I think it is with a dog. Actually, that's a good question. I did not ask that question. But
that'd be pretty hilarious.
Yeah, I know. Just set them loose with some pigs on a hill in Tuscany and be like, have at it, kids. Don't eat them. They're too expensive. But yeah, you can do like all of these crazy things there. And it's just a 10 out of 10.
Wow, that sounds very nice.
Yeah, I would highly recommend. Yeah.
And what does home mean to you?
I think home is just being comfortable and being, in a place where you are 100% able to be comfortable, be yourself, be with your family, obviously. I mean, I think home is kind of where you are with your family. But it doesn't necessarily have to be in your home.
Yeah, exactly.
You can,
as long as you're together.
As long as you're together, I think that some of the best experiences you can have are kind of exploring and stuff like that, and being, out in the world and figuring out who you all are together. So I think that, that maybe isn't home, but I think that there's,
No, but I agree with you. Like, home is more of a feeling than
it's more of a
concrete thing in place.
And I think so often, when we're at home, life is so busy. Sometimes it is kind of you actually get to like be with your family.
Yeah,
the most when you're not even at home.
No, it's true, because you're not worried about the day-to-day to-dos,
the pickups and the drop-offs and the like meetings and everything.
Yeah, all that good stuff.
Exactly. So. Yeah.
Awesome.
I'll stick with that for an answer.
Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you.
This has been fun and illuminating. So, yeah.
I've had so much fun. Thank you so much for having me.
I look forward to booking some travel with you.
Yeah.
And before we wrap up, I should, just for our listeners, where do they find you? How do they contact you?
You can go to my website, which is amtravel.ca, www.amtravel.ca. You can follow me on Instagram, which is am.custom.travel. And if you go to either of those places, you can reach out through email, through a DM, through anything. And that's that. Then hopefully I can chat with you from there.
Awesome. Thank you so much.